Okay, so hi Rohil, welcome to the podcast. So Rohil is a dear friend of mine from college, and he is a startup co-founder currently. So Rohil, why don't you introduce a bit about yourself to the audience, in brief about what you're doing now and where you've come from?
Sure. So, hi guys, I'm Rohil. I'm the co-founder of SimpliClariFy. We are a platform for undergraduate students to get guidance, career decisions, basically simplifying their career decisions. And I come from Rajasthan, Jodhpur. After that, I did my BTech from VIT Vellore, got placed in J.P. Morgan, and yeah, so I quit my job and started working full time on my startup.
Thanks, Rohil. I'll not start with the conventional question of how did you get into engineering, but I want to focus more on how did you get into JP Morgan, because that journey of yours has been a bit different from what people take. Because usually people sit in the placements of the college and they wait for companies to come and then apply to different companies, right? So, but you didn't go into that route. I think you got placed in third year itself, early third year, and we were a bit surprised as we were like wondering how did you get placed so early. So, what was your process of getting into JP Morgan, and what was your learnings from that process?
So, what happened with me from my, I think, first or second year onwards, I was more inclined towards hackathons or make-a-thons. So, just before, our final exams, also just one day before, I was in some hackathon, doing some stuff. So, similarly, a hackathon from JP Morgan was organized. Actually, it's called Code for Good. So, I participated in that. And I think so. There was this whole process of first, resume shortlisting. And I think one thing which worked for me there was, I think, hackathons and make-a-thons, because I've been part of a lot and I have won a lot of hackathons as well. So I think that stood out for me. So that's where I got selected for the hackathon. And then they asked us to come to Bangalore. There were teams, we were in actually JP Morgan's office. So at that time, it was like a dream that we were in JP Morgan's office. So uh, what happened there is, they gave us problem statements just like a hackathon. It was a 36 or I think 48 hours hackathon. We needed to create something. And so that happened, I think, at the end of third year. And yeah, so that was the hackathon. They actually judged us. There were some JP Morgan employees with us during the hackathon. They were actually judging us how we are going through the whole process. Are we good at coding or are we good at communication? All those things. So it was a live interview, basically, I would say. Uh, so that worked for me. And when I went back to college, I got an offer from JP Morgan. So yeah, that was the whole journey. But I think a lot of students, most of the time, they don't think about the extracurricular thing which they can do in college, right? These hackathon, make-a-thon, they're just mostly focused on studies. I think that is also important, but these things I think would make someone separate from others during the placements or I think the interviews. So that actually worked for me.
What is the one thing that for you which helped you to decide and you started appearing for the hackathons and all of these things? Uh, why
So
you
yeah,
like initially?
from
Yeah. Mhm.
from beginning, I would say, from my, I think, my school days, I was more inclined toward creating something. I don't know, kuch bhi banana. So
Hmm.
when I went to I mean first year, तब से I wanted to, कि बस कुछ ना कुछ hackathon. जब मेरे को पता चला, there's something called as कि 36 hours we need to do something. These are interesting things, right? Because we haven't seen anything like this before. So I participated in those events. अच्छी team बन गई थी, friends were there. So I actually liked doing it rather than कि, a lot of time they were just mugging up of topics when we give exams, right? So I was not very interested in all those things. I thought let's create something जिससे कुछ फर्क पड़ता है, right? So that is why I think I was inclined towards these things. मैंने some club and chapters का भी I got part into it. I gave some interviews because I wanted to do something more than just academics. So
Makes sense.
I think that inclined me toward all these things.
एंड हाँ, मतलब काफी लोगों को ये भी लगता है कि यार मेरे पास तो टीम ही नहीं है, मे बी आई एम नॉट हैविंग द राइट सेट ऑफ स्किल्स टू डू, बट आई थिंक like once you started going there, right, you will make friends, you will make your own
Exactly.
team which will help you, like not in just only those hackathons but much more further. journey in your
Exactly, that
college.
is true.
Yeah,
Because I think all these events, right, like all these extracurricular things which you do, that actually creates a community around you. You know, you get friends, you get to know a lot of other people who are more talented than you. So I
yeah,
think that is a really good thing which every student should, I think, try.
And the one good thing is that you wanted practical application of the theory that you learned rather than mugging up the theory and appearing for the placement test. So this is one good takeaway from your journey is that go for it. You might not even know that you might get a job through a hackathon, but it can surprise you, right?
Yeah,
Because you didn't know you were going to win. Only I think the winners got the job, not
exactly.
all the people who took part in the
No,
hackathon.
so that exactly that was not the case. So they, as I said, they were employees in every team, 2, 3 employees in all the teams, and they were seeing us that how we are good at in teamwork, basically how we are good at coding. They didn't expect us to create finish everything in 36 hours, but they were judging us. It was a live interview kind of a thing. They were judging us live there itself. They were asking us questions during whatever we were building.
This is pretty
this
interesting
is
process.
wonderful ना
Yeah.
कि मतलब बिना बताए इंटरव्यू भी हो रहा है, जॉब भी हो रहा है, you are enjoying the process, hackathon.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And I
this is
think this
good.
is a really, right way to, I would say, not a right
Yeah,
wrong, but a good way to judge anyone, right? सीधा interview पे जाके इससे अच्छा है कि live you can check how the student is.
definitely.
So Rohil, once you got a job in JPMC, so I think your fourth year would have been just chilling and experimenting with things. So when did this thought about creating something on your own, like a company, come into your mind? Was it during the final year of college, or was it after you joined JPMC?
No, so it was from second semester, I would say. When I was in
Oh,
second semester, there was one uh, some entrepreneurship event that happened, and one of my very dear friend. So I went with him for that entrepreneurship event. We had an amazing idea, and I'm not kidding, we actually dreamt that we'll have a really good office, in our first year, that we'll make it big and all those things. So I think that first thing when I got introduced to entrepreneurship, there were some investors, in that event. So I came to know a lot more about what entrepreneurship is, startup kya hota hai, and that time only I think TVF Pictures came in when we were in first
yeah.
years. So that also introduced me कि अच्छा there's something called startup. Obviously एक उसका cool vibe था, but that was not the case. But it was something, you will be doing something which you want to, right? कि आपको जो पसंद आप वो कर रहे होगे, and you are actually creating an impact. You're creating something which is impacting everybody's life. तो फर्स्ट ईयर से आई हैड दैट थिंक यार मेरे को खुद का कुछ करना है. और सेकंड थर्ड ईयर में एवरी टाइम आई यूज्ड टू हैव सम स्टार्ट्स, स्टार्टअप आइडियाज आते थे कि यार ये करना, ये कर सकते हैं, ये कर सकते हैं. एंड दैट्स वेयर आई मेट माय co-founder Kamal. He was also doing a startup at that
So
time,
is he
some
from
different
VIT?
startup. Yes.
Okay.
He's from
So
VIT,
how you
Bharati
guys like?
Technology.
I know, like I myself was also so much excited into this place, right? Or into these things that I also have some of the ideas. I used to like discuss it with my friends. So is like Kamal is your best friend, like who you discuss every idea. How do you go about the
Yes.
process of whether implementing that idea, thinking through, researching about that? Can you just tell us about
Sure,
something there?
exactly. So when I was a student, all these things, right, that कि सबसे पहले क्या करना होता है, आइडिया तो आ गया,
Hmm.
now what
Yeah.
to do, right? Whether it's
Right.
product market fit, basically ये सही है क्या मार्केट के लिए, क्या लोगों को जरूरत है. तो that time we didn't know all these things. बस आइडिया थे दिमाग में कि यार implement करना है, but that thing कि यार start करते हैं, वो नहीं हो पाया, because that's a very, I think, a bold step to do, right? That
Execution is
Hmm.
difficult.
placement nahi, exactly, placement nahi, let's go for this, all these things. So that time I
But
think
कई
if
बार तो
any
ये हुआ कि
aspiring
we have started implementation without even thinking about product market fit, doing some research because उस time बनाने
नहीं,
का इतना अच्छा
exactly, that's what my point, as a student अपने को ज्यादा इंटरेस्ट उसमें आता है कि we just need to create something, बस बना दो. uh, but the right format would be, whether students need it or not. But obviously that is also a good way to also understand कि यार क्या response आ रहा है, is it good or not, क्या changes कर सकते हैं, and all those things. So that during college, हमारे पास वो नहीं था कि यार let's start it, कुछ बना देते हैं अलग, do it. तो ideas बहुत सारे थे, but execute इतने मतलब scale पे कभी नहीं कर पाए हम. तो इसीलिए जब जैसी जॉब लगी, then we were like यार अब जॉब लग गई, अब obviously अब क्या करना है. I was like कि मेरे को जॉब तो नहीं करती रहनी. I want to create my own startup. तो I think during my internship only, during my 8th semester, when I was in internship, I used to call Kamal ki yaar start karte hain abhi se kuch and all. So I remember, from first month only we were doing that. Yeah, let's create something. अब ये हो गया. अब I am here. You are also placing really good company. अब क्या हो सकता है इससे आगे क्या है? Obviously there are a lot of things, but this role I would say, कि as a मतलब कोई software developer or as an analyst, I don't think कि I was fit for that. Exactly fit for that. So I was like, let's create something which I like, which I like to do. So first year, first month से we were talking कि यार let's create something and all. तो तब से ही start हो गया कि यार अब बनाते हैं. But SimpliClarify came into picture later. Uस time we had a different idea. We had Valencify, which is amazing idea. Hopefully you'll get it maybe in 1 year or 2 years. We haven't launched it yet. But during that whole process, because pandemic happened and all those things, so we couldn't launch it. So that's where SimpliClarify ka idea came in. This is also a pain point for students, and that's where SimpliClarify started.
So are you guys working on 2 ideas?
Yeah. So yeah.
So one of the idea is already, as I said, Valencify is already developed. We need obviously a lot more things to it to launch it in the market. As we've understood कि अब कैसे करना होता है, तब तो we were also like, a kid की बना रहे हैं and all those things. But yeah, that was there. Then SimpliClarify came into picture, and SimpliClarify we could launch it because उसके लिए college open होने की जरूरत नहीं थी. So we launched it, got really good response, and that's where we quit our jobs and started working on it full time.
So like even before going to the start, like SimpliClarify, right? So what was his thought process? For example, you got an idea that you wanted to work on, but what next? So because people seldom get stuck on the idea. They're like, ठीक है idea मिल गया, अभी अगले बार next step क्या ले? The next step is discarding the idea for most of the people because उनको समझ नहीं था कि idea बढ़ाए कैसे आगे. So what did you have in mind? Did you have a framework that you followed to get that idea executed, or just create the MVP and then get into the market? Or did you think कि नहीं पहले let's figure out the product market fit and इसके बाद research करते थोड़ा और product को बड़ा बनाते हैं, फिर थोड़े target group को focus को target करते हैं and then आगे बढ़ते हैं. So what was the process you followed?
So सबसे first was so before SimpliClarify, right, for when we started this Valencify ka thing. So उस time we had this idea and we were like ये best idea is ये तो because of it came to our mind. So we were like ये तो best idea, obviously it's a very unique idea, but obviously every idea which you get तुमको लगेगा कि that's the best idea. The way to go forward is very basic thing is to pass on a survey. एक survey बनाओ and send it to your target audience. जो भी audience है, for example अगर आपकी audience student है और आप जो भी startup में करना चाह रहे हो, तो write some questions based on that, so that you get an understanding whether this product will be useful for students or not. So that's where we send some surveys to students via a lot of platform. कोई club chapters के head को भेज दिया कि pass on this survey and all those things. So that's where we came to know कि this is really something which students need. So when we get that right, that these are the points which they might need, that's when we created a whole team around us. We wanted some tech guys to be in our team. Just maybe ask your friends. At that time कोई आप hire तो कर नहीं सकते हो, तो get some friends, कोई co-founder रख सकते हो जिसको who can build that thing for you. So I think the next step is building that product, because now you have understood कि market में चाहिए क्या. So that's where product building comes in, and it's not like for example you got five, you need to have 5 features, but it's not like पांचों के पांचों feature एक साथ launch कर दो, or create all those 5 features. Maybe start with 1 or 2 things and launch it, maybe a beta launch, alpha launch, see how the response is, and that's where बाकी के 3 चीजें you can launch. But still even after this point, I won't say कि startup चल गया and all those things, because अभी it's in a very small scale. अभी भी इसको I would say a project, right? Very small scale. आपने अपने खुद के कॉलेज में बीटा रन करके देख लिया कि यार क्या चल रहा है, कैसा रिस्पॉन्स है. Now the hardest part I would say जिसमें define होता है कि it's a startup, entrepreneurs का basically the correct test होता है, is scaling up, which I think we are also in the process of right now. We haven't done that yet. We are also in the process, but जो scaling वाला part है, that is the one thing which actually creates that big startups, unicorns, or any good startup basically. So we are also in that process, but yeah, the next step is just scaling up. कि अंडरस्टैंड कि अब आपको समझ आ गया कि मार्केट प्रोडक्ट इज करेक्ट, अब हाउ विल यू मार्केट इट, हाउ विल यू स्केल इट, व्हाट इमेज डू यू वांट टू पुट ऑफ दिस प्रोडक्ट टू द यूजर्स, राइट, कि क्या प्रोडक्ट है ये, कैसे आप इमेज रखना चाहते हो. So these things actually happen after that. So yeah, I think that is it.
Yeah.
So Rohil, just one question. Like in the early phases, when we have some idea, right, we start some market research as well. Like, is there any such product exists in the market? So, do you only pursue the ideas where you feel like there is a market gap and the idea is still not has been processed by the market and there is no competition? Basically, there is no existing player. For you, only focus on the ideas matlab, that can
So
that
does
can
it matter?
basically is
Does it?
completely new. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Does the
Does it
competition
matter
matter
So
for you?
or not?
so this is what we've understood also now, that so this will happen, I think, to a lot of people, that when they start an idea, they'll research कि कोई competition है कि नहीं, and most of the time they won't find it, and when they launch it, from that day people will be sending them links ki, see, these people are doing the same thing, these people are doing the same, and that's when you realize that some part of my startup is being done by some other players also, right? But the thing is, the thing is ki, even if you're creating something very similar, see, exactly it won't be similar, obviously. You can obviously add some features to it, remove some, but the real thing is, how you are putting it in to the users, how different you put it to the users. भले ही product same हो, but आप कैसे, जैसे मोबाइल फोन इतने सारे बनते हैं, राइट, बट कोई लग्जरी टाइप दिखा के शो करता है, कोई बोलता है मेरा ओएस बेस्ट है, लाइक एप्पल. आई नो दे आर बिग प्लेयर्स, बट दैट्स वेयर डिफरेंशिएशन हैपेंस, कि मेरी प्राइस कम होगी, कुछ कुछ चीजें जो एकदम डिफरेंशिएट कर देती है. जैसे अभी जेप्टो लॉन्च हुआ, सो दैट इज ऑल्सो डिलीवरी ऐप, राइट, बट इट डज डिलीवरी इन 10 minutes, राइट. सो that is, so when I think जब उनके दिमाग में आइडिया हुआ, तो they wouldn't even have started कि यार there is Grofers, there is Milk Basket, so I shouldn't start. But they just took one very good pain point, that फटाफट delivery होनी चाहिए. So 10 minutes में they delivered. So I think होते हैं, competitions तो होंगे यार, इंडिया इतनी बड़ी population है, बाहर भी पूरा वर्ल्ड है, तो competition तो हमेशा होंगे. But it's just like what you create, how different you create the product. I think that is what that can also survive. तो
So that's
coexist भी
one
कर
thing
सकते,
that
there's not
keep
an issue.
yourself boosted in matlab, implementing the idea and keeping it and making it
Yes,
forward
exactly. You can
to the
actually
people.
learn, कि competitors क्या कर रहे हैं. उनका LinkedIn खोलो, उनका just check their post, what kind of post they are doing, so that you'll understand कि what they are doing, maybe I can add something more to it. You can also try that.
And how important do you feel that the founders or the founding team should have a connect with the problem that they're solving? So for example, काफी लोग क्या करते हैं, they keep on bouncing ideas and they see that कि एक जगह एक problem है जो हम solve कर सकते हैं, but they might not connect with the idea. For example, I see that mentorship का mentors और mentees का problem है, but I couldn't connect with the idea. मतलब ठीक है कि problem solve हो सकता है, but am I the right person to do so? So how did you decide that, and is it important or not?
It's very, very important, because see, how did I decide it? So when I was in, I got placed, so post hota hai LinkedIn pe ki, I got placed, or ये job लगी, तो during that time a lot of people, students actually used to send a message कि भैया please see my resume, or how can I prepare, कहाँ से मैं पढूं, and all those things. So that's where I understood कि यार ये जरूरत है, right, and I used to reply them, या छोटे छोटे reply होते, but if someone wants a really good time from me, कि पूरा 30 minutes चाहिए, properly they need guidance, so I used to do that during that, during my, I think, starting of my internship, I used to do that. So that's where I found out ki, I was actually a mentor during that time. I would say simply I was not even there. So I thought that, yeah, this is, I was actually in the picture. And second part about, whether the founders or the team should be connected to the idea, is what we used to do is, after every, so for on our platform, we used to have one-on-one calls, right, with mentee and mentor. So after every call, we used to go on the call with the mentor and the mentee to understand, because it was in very early stage, that what we are doing wrong, and does this product really help you or not, so that we get a connect of the idea that actually में क्या हो रहा है. And that's where we can, take our next step कि अच्छा ये change कर सकते हैं, we can add these things, because users को ये problems आई. So I think that is very important, how, whenever we used to hire someone, any intern or everyone, we used to first have a session on just telling them the whole idea and the whole process ki yaar, this is what we do, and so that they also get a connect ki exactly what the company does. I think that is really, really important.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty important because
Yeah,
sometimes,
makes sense
yeah,
because
sorry.
yeah, understanding people and your customers, right? It's very important. Look, in the especially in the early phases, because that might help you
Yeah,
to iterate faster and bring the things which is needed in the market correctly.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nishant.
Yeah, that's a good point, Rohit. I think the good point about that you mentioned right now is letting the team know about your vision very clearly so that they can connect with it. And yeah, I think that's a really good thing to do as a founder to keep the spirits of the team high. I think that brings me to the next question about SimpliClarify on what exactly is SimpliClarify, that is your startup, and what are you aiming to achieve through this?
So as an recent undergraduate student, as we all were, the the three things which we used to do after college is, first is we sit for placements, get a job. Second is we do masters, maybe India or abroad, or maybe start our own startup. So what we try to do is, we found that there's a huge gap between these two worlds. तो जो बच्चे अभी अंडर ग्रेजुएशन में है, कॉलेज में है, they are not even aware कि what all opportunities are available the campus, developers in that role, whether it's good for me or not. Or if I'm planning to go abroad, if I want to go into maybe Australia to do any course, right? Whether that country, that course is suitable for me, whether that country is suitable for me, or how can I, go forward with it? How can I plan and execute it? So we thought that these are two different ones and these are not connected very well. Everybody is probably, I would say it's not a bad word, but in a rat race, in fourth year basically. प्लेसमेंट होता है तो एवरीबडी की सब लोग प्लेसमेंट में बैठे हैं, दे डोंट इवन केयर, बस देखते कंपनी कौन सी, दे सिट फॉर इट. सो सो वी थॉट दैट दिस इस गैप को फिल करना है. these students should know actually from the people on the other side. They should talk to them to understand what all things they should, they should be equipped with before deciding their career decisions. So what we did is, we have mentors on our platform. These are not, counselors or professionals. What we wanted to do is, democratize this career decision making. So we have mentors from 12 different countries outside India who are students, who are Indian students from tier 2, tier 3 colleges. And they are currently studying in Ivy League universities or, really good universities like Carnegie Mellon or any Monash universities. So any student who aspires to go abroad, there are a lot of things which you need to take care of, right? It's not like ki JEE ka paper de diya and you get into a college. A lot of things are there, SOP, LOR, then यूनिवर्सिटी शॉर्टलिस्टिंग कैसे करनी है, वहाँ का सीन क्या, पार्ट टाइम जॉब्स कैसे होती है, इंटर्नशिप, प्लेसमेंट्स. So, and because you're doing a lot of investment for 1 crore or 2 crore for the fee, so you need to know each and everything. So the best person to do it is someone who's actually done it in past, right? So that's where the idea came in. And we have mentors from different colleges, so anyone can book one-on-one session with them to actually understand whether it's good for me or not, or how can I decide my college, and how can I proceed with it, मैं अपने steps कैसे लूँ. So this is for higher education. फिर if you're planning for job, you want to get a job in India, तो आप placements की कैसे preparation कर सकते हैं. And the best person to do it is, for example, you got into Schneider, so you can actually guide them कि यार कैसे you prepared and what actually you do there, कि तुम्हारा role क्या होता है, so that people can actually. अभी क्या होता है कि सब लोग bubble में अपना decision लेते हैं. For example, कोई 4 bedded room में रहता है college hostel में, so जो बाकी 3 लोग करते हैं वो फोर्थ बंदा भी वही कर रहा होता है, और सारे के सारे स्टूडेंट्स ही है. कोई भी ऐसा नहीं है कि उसको पता है सब कुछ, राइट? सो जो चौथा बंदा है, उसको उसको आइडिया होना चाहिए कि यार मैं कैसे अपना करियर डिसाइड कर रहा हूँ. बिकॉज सिर्फ ये नहीं होता है कि यू आर कि आप बस अपना आप बस पैसे, राइट, योर ईयर्स आर गोइंग अवे. सो दैट वाज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एंड दैट इज वेयर आवर आइडिया केम इन कि आप हमारे प्लेटफॉर्म पे आओ, आपको जॉब करनी है तो आप अलग अलग लोगों से बात करो, हर अब इसके ऊपर what we try to add, we are launching it very soon, which is called digital twin feature, which is an AI based recommendation. where a student will put in their details, their academic history, like 10th percentage, 12th percentage, CGPA कितना है, और maybe कुछ उन्होंने paper दिया, GRE दिया, GMAT दिया है, and what are their future interests, which is very important, कि क्या उनको computer science में आगे बढ़ना है, business analyst बनना है, या masters करनी है, क्या करना है. So considering all these things, we also have the journeys of the mentors, कि उनकी क्या journey थी, क्या उनका past था, और वो लोग अभी क्या कर रहे हैं. So we match all those things using our algorithm, and we will recommend these students in multiple career paths. Ki, based on your history, you can, these are the people who have done all these things. So for example, if I've written that I want to go into computer science and my percentages were these things, so I'll get some career paths. For example, MS in business analytics in Australia, or MS as a data scientist in some country, or all these things. So now a student is aware of all the opportunities which are available, right? And in every career path, they'll see these career twins. These career twins are mentors, as I said. These people have actually gone through the whole journey, and you can actually talk to them. So that is whole SimpliClariFy's picture.
First of all, I really liked it. I have something in my mind regarding the same key. How currently there is a lot of things like students face right after 10th, what to do, and 12th, and just as you called out, like in engineering itself, there are multiple fields that people can go to. So the mapping of all these details of the mentors as well as the mentees, right? This is a good thing that can help people to decide, right, which is the right career path based on the details, like what they are good at. So very, very good idea, I would say. So, Rohil, right, as you have already started working in corporate, and startup is a very gray area, you might have already knew that, right? So, how have you decided to jump into the startup, and how the startup world look like when you just enters into it? Because you just recently started a year back, so I think like you would be the right person to add the details here.
So it's a really different world. I'm being honest. It's a really different world from corporate, and really different from what it was in college. And so what fired our decision is, we actually have launched our alpha version, and there's a micro VC fund in Mumbai called 100x.vc. So we pitched our idea to them, and that's where the whole thing kick in, that they really like the idea. They asked us to come to Mumbai. They like the idea and all. So they wanted to give their first check. They have these cohorts, so class 6, class 1, and all those things. Because because we haven't done any startup before, so it's very important that we should be nurtured. How this is done by experts. By some really good VCs, or by some really good entrepreneurs.
I think
So
like
we
most of
went
the
there.
people also have the same question. I have the question there. Like before you started pitching to the investors about your idea, did you quit your job and then started, or what was the process there?
Yeah, so we were. I was in my job. I was doing my job,
Hmm.
but I just we applied. I think we applied while I was in job, so we applied it. But when they were okay to give the first check to us, I had to quit my job, because I think it is not in the policy that I can be bored anywhere. So
That makes sense. Yeah, but you
I
can
told
go
my
ahead and
team.
apply for the funding while you were
Yeah,
doing
I
the job.
think it also depends. You can maybe talk to your team. I don't know. Talk to your manager that I'm thinking of something. It
Hmm.
depends on you, but I think the only problem comes in, I think, when you are getting the money, registering your company, your board somewhere, and you're working somewhere. I think that is not allowed in some companies, and it was
No,
not in mine as
definitely.
well.
Yeah.
So when we received our first check, when we registered our company, so we did all these things after I quit my job. I told my manager that I am doing all these things, and I need to quit my job because I have to register my company. I'll be bored there, so it won't allow, JP Morgan won't allow it. So I had to quit it and start working on it full time.
So one
So yeah, you were
follow-up
telling about your
question,
Mumbai
Mayank.
job.
So one follow-up question over
Mhm.
here. So how difficult was it managing startup along with your full-time job? So how did you manage? Like only on weekdays, only on weekends, working late night on weekdays? What was the schedule like?
So होता ये था कि because I really liked it, it was our own thing. तो कभी वो tiredness feel नहीं होती थी, right? So whenever the office used to go over, we used to go on a call. So me and my co-founder were only there, and we had 3-4 people in tech as well who were developing all of the things. So we all used to go on a call after every day, after every I think my working schedule. हम लोग रात को we used to go on a call, think about stuff and all those things. So that used to happen every day. Weekends का पता ही नहीं रहता था because we were working on weekends also on the same. So I think वो वाला that part is actually very good. When you're working, you can actually maybe create a beta or alpha during that time because you have weekends. Saturday, Sunday, everywhere is off. So if anybody plans to do it, on weekends, you can take out time and create your own product. A part of it basically. So yeah, we also did that.
So you need not really quit your job to even begin thinking or begin working on your idea. You can do it parallelly until you're sure about that. Yeah, this is going to earn me something, and then I can quit. But one last question
Even
is,
right before the investing, I
yeah,
would say.
even before the investing, right? So when you're
Yeah.
sure that you'll be earning money through it, then you can quit. So when you were quitting a job, I think you'd have taken a salary cut or at least earning very less compared to what you were earning in JPMC. So that was fine for you because you're working on the idea and knew that it has potential. So, but some people are like, might not want to leave my high-paying job and start up. So,
Yes.
what tip or what suggestion would you have for them?
See, I think just like I was 23 that time. So I was thinking, that was my process, my thinking process that so if I quit after maybe 2-3 years, I'll be, 26, 27. And it will be hard during that time for me to leave. Obviously, it's not the same for everyone, but I thought during the time of 27, 20, it will be hard for me to, take that much of risk. So I was thinking that I think I'm already late. I should have done it before. But you know, risk factor is always there. That is why success rate भी इतनी कम है obviously, but you have to see in a long term process. Short term में you can't see कि यार एक साल बाद profit आ जाएगा, I will be earning. So obviously startup game is not like that. It might have worked for someone, but you need to see a longer picture कि how do you see yourself कि 5 years ago do you want to do the same thing which you are doing right now? Like for example, you are at a really good position in X company. After 5 years, you will be in a really, really good position in maybe Y company, which is really good. So I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't see myself doing that, right? I won't even feel कि यार मैंने बहुत achieve कर लिया if that happens. Obviously, it depends on others कि किसी को अच्छा लगता है. Obviously, that is not a bad thing. But मैंने ऐसा देखा कि after 5 years, I'm not seeing myself doing all these things. So the best thing to do is just take a risk. लेना पड़ेगा एक बार तो, because वो एक होता है यार अंदर से कि यार बनाना है तो अब छोड़ना पड़ेगा, एक फुल टाइम उसको टाइम देना पड़ता है, तो वो आई थिंक इट कम्स ऑटोमेटिकली कि चलता है रिस्क, आई कैन टेक अ रिस्क थोड़े टाइम के लिए, ऑब्वियसली थोड़ा टाइम लगता है. सो पीपल शुड बी अवेयर कि इट्स नॉट लाइक कि आप क्विट कर दोगे वहां से भी सैलरी आती रहेगी, ऐसा नहीं होता है. सो थोड़ा टाइम लगता है बिकॉज यू हैव अ स्टेक इन द कंपनी. सो दैट इज एक्चुअली द बिगर थिंग, अपार्ट फ्रॉम द सैलरी तो फाउंडर्स की इट्स नॉट दैट मच. So I think the longer picture देखनी होती है. So when you see the longer picture, that's when you realize कि हाँ, I think I should quit, or maybe the job is only good for me.
Makes sense.
So Rohil, let's get back to your Mumbai journey. Yeah, what was there?
So we went. I think there were some interviews before going to Mumbai. We had some screening process. So we went into Mumbai. We went to their office. That's where we had to pitch. That was our first live pitch. So that's where I think our mind also got broadened into thinking a lot of things because there were experts sitting right ahead of us. They were really they are really cool and big VCs. So they gave us a lot of questions to think about, and that's where I thought कि we were very we need to learn a lot of things. ऐसा नहीं है कि they interested and they are giving us money, but बहुत सारा चीजें we need to learn, rethink करनी पड़ेगी. So when we went to Bombay, we realized all these things. We were happy a lot कि यार first check आ गया, because we were not thinking of that कि यार ऐसा आ जाएगा at so early stage. But at the same time we were very थोड़ा डर भी था कि अभी तो start हुई है journey and all those things. And they gave us a lot of things to think about. So I think that is very, very important, for a very early stage startup, कि you get people around you जो आपको mentor कर सकते हैं, जो बहुत experienced हो उन सब चीजों में. They have actually gone through the journey. They have seen a lot of startups, rise and fail. And this was a really good brand, and the people were there, are really, really good. So वहां से all this mentoring process for us started. वो लोग हमको मेंटर करते थे, तो बिकॉज हम लोग एकदम नए थे इस फील्ड में, हमको बस इतना पता था कि आइडिया होता है, ये आइडिया है और इसको टेक्नोलॉजी से ऐसे बिल्ड कर सकते हैं. अब आगे बीटा कर दिया, एक सर्वे चला दिया, बीटा लॉन्च कर दिया कॉलेज में, एंड गेटिंग रिस्पॉन्सेज. बट व्हाट्स नेक्स्ट? अभी तो स्टार्टअप करना है, बड़ा करना है, ऑल दोस थिंग्स. सो that is what is really important, and that's where you need some mentor or people to guide you. Actually SimpliClarify का आइडिया भी वही है, talk to people on the other side, जिन्होंने वो सब करा हुआ हो. So बॉम्बे में जब हम उन लोगों से मिले तब हमको लगा कि यार ये तो अलग ही दुनिया है. how they used to talk, मतलब everything, their words, जो भी वो बताते थे, कोई क्वेश्चन पूछे तो we were like कि what, मतलब माइंड ब्लो हो जाता था कि यार ये क्या, ये तो कभी सोचा ही नहीं. तो सेशंस होते थे, they used to call CEOs of some really good startups, some cool startups. So उनसे बात होती तो पता चलता था कि अच्छा ऐसा भी होता है, these things can happen. तो एक रियल वर्ल्ड में क्या होता है वो पिक्चर मिलती थी, वरना तो सब हमारे दिमाग में ही था, हम दोनों ही बात करते थे, मी एंड माय को-फाउंडर. सो आई थिंक वो एक एक्सटर्नल आना बहुत जरूरी है.
Rohil, like, can you just tell us, like, when you got the money, right, for your startup, did you feel challenges there too, like how to invest it, how to manage the money within the startup, and what to do with that, and what all the other challenges you have faced while starting the real journey after this?
That is true, man. Yeah. So as I said, बिल्कुल experience नहीं था. We didn't had any experience to कैसे करते, how to distribute money, because I was just an employee of some company in some division, and all these things someone used to do it for us. So now I had, we had to do all these things. So as I said, as these people, our investors were mentors to us, we used to ask them all these things कि कैसे होता है, how all these things happen. We also used to see a lot of videos, a lot of from really good people, mentors जो होते हैं, तो उनसे समझते थे कि कैसे work होता है इधर, कैसे distribution होता है, how to hire people. That is really, really important, कि how to build a team around you who actually believes in you. That is really, really important. So all these things, all these things happen in the process because we didn't had any experience of these. So I think some of the things we tried on our own, and that's where we learned कि अच्छा ऐसे करते हैं, ये चीजें नहीं करनी चाहिए. And I think we've learned a lot during the whole process. So I think you can start जैसे you can maybe start testing out things कि यार I should do maybe these things, ऐसे hire करता हूँ. You learn कि क्या गलत हो रहा है, क्या सही हो रहा है, and you can follow up on that. And I used to also talk to a lot of founders, as I said, कि उनके connections भी बहुत थे, जैसे 100x VC के connection बहुत थे, तो they used to connect us with a lot of founders. So we used to know कि अच्छा how things work in different startups, कैसे होता है. So we used to get an idea from there as well.
Right. So how big is SimpliClarify team now?
I think currently we have 12 to 14 people with us, apart from me and Kamal. Yeah.
So yeah, I have a question there. Like, apart from just you just only not have to think about the future of SimpliClarify, but also have to manage those 14 people, keep their beliefs, maintaining in your startup, and all of these sort of things, right? You know where I'm going. So what are the challenges you faced there, and how you like resolved it and learned things
and
there?
Given that you were not a manager before, so this was your first managerial experience as well.
So I want to give a shout out to my team at J.P Morgan. So I had like three, four really good mentors, managers for me, and they guided me really well. So I have practiced a lot of things, जो manager, how they used to treat us, how they used to communicate with us. I tried that a lot of those things in my own, journey here. So that is actually worked for me because I've seen कि यार कैसे बात करते हैं, मेरा क्या reaction होता था, did I like it or not. So I thought कि I should be treating my, people working for us also in the similar manner. So that worked for me. And during initial times, it was very difficult because कभी people manage नहीं किए, right? कि do this thing, और कभी ऐसा बोला नहीं जाता कि, as a manager कि do this, I want this to be done on this time, because nobody
Right.
likes it. So
Yeah.
saying it in a very right way was really important. So starting में there was a lot of issues कि समझ नहीं आता था, how to talk to these people, कैसे समझाना कि this has to be delivered during this time. And that's where I realized कि यार, why my manager used to talk like that, कि ये जल्दी deliver होना and all those things. So that's where I realized. But these things, smoothly ho gaya. I think we were lucky. The people we got in our team, they really connected with the idea, and they are, I've told to them as well, nobody is like an employee to us. They are really close, we all talk on all the call. I've given them all the freedom, you need to think, because I want a perspective from all these, different genres, and don't make aisa nahi rakhna ki what I am thinking should be done. So those, I think I was very lucky to have a really good team around us. So yeah, but everyone, I think, has the same vision as us. It's not like they are just doing their jobs as, कोई employee करता है. So I think we are very clear on our vision, and everybody is well connected.
Makes sense. Yeah, I think like you are really managing it well. You know the things beforehand, and your experiences, you took it and just brought it to your startup. So, Rohil, like, is there any difficulties in any particular field you might have faced while doing this journey? Like, you might have felt like I might not be good fit for the management or the marketing of my product, or like pitching to the investors, or just handling the tech part of it. So how did you manage and decided these things, or given the front to lead to your team at each and every these things, right?
So the problem was, so as I said, we were only learning. We were not sure ki, I'm good at this. Like, I'm good at marketing. No, we both had no experience of marketing, have no
Right.
experience of sales or pitching, all these things. So we are actually built during the whole process of in all these things. So obviously there were a lot of times when we used to think whether what we have thought, will it work or not, or sometimes it didn't work, and we used to think are we the right people for this type of work or not. But eventually, as learn from what you did wrong before.
Yeah.
So we used to do that. Jo bhi galat kara, we used to create it, correct karte the, and all those things. So I think that the problem was never on that front. But I think early on, because we were very new, so just going into a role ki yaar, you need to manage people was a little bit challenging, because we didn't know kaise hota and all those things. But eventually it went away, and it's smooth right now.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
pretty
makes
amazing.
sense.
And
Yeah.
so you said ki these are the challenges that you face, right? And so what's next for SimpliClarify? What's going to happen in the next 1 year or 3 years or 5 years down the line? Do you have a vision or roadmap set that you can share?
Sure. So, as I said, we are very soon launching this. Basically, our full product will be launched then, the digital twin feature. So, very in near future, also we plan to open it for every time when a student is changing their taking deciding a different career. For example, they are in 12th standard and they are going into college. Then they are in college and going into job or higher education. We want to tap into all those markets, because I think there's a gap in everywhere in all these markets. And we plan to open a platform for school students as well, because a lot of parents and school students are not even aware कि 11 12 के बाद specifically talking about CBSE. A lot of students and parents are not even aware कि these things are options are available for us. So for example, I took EC at VIT, electronics and communication. I didn't even knew कि electronics and communication कोई role भी होता है when I was in 12th. Even though I was not even sure कि I was just focused on कि IIT करना है. I was not even thinking कि I need to do engineering, literally. So I think this still prevails in a lot of students. So I think we want to tap into that market as well. And I would say in a very big picture, I hope that, and I believe that a lot of students would be using our platform, for deciding their career. that what is good for them, and basically how to take the steps forward. So I think we want to be we want to we want to go into each and every segment of students, and I think we can create a really good impact in career decision making of Indian students.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing cause that you're guys are tackling, and I think it would really make
Yeah.
sense given the Indian education system right currently, and we hope that that mindset shift comes into place for students and for working professionals as well. Yeah, so I think we'll reach the last segment, Rohil, on concluding, right? So your journey has been quite unique. Say you joined JP Morgan in the third year through a hackathon, then you then you left JP Morgan for starting up SimpliClariFy, and you're in the process of scaling it right now. Any tips for the budding entrepreneurs in college, in schools, or working right now, who think that they have that idea to uh, build a unicorn, but they don't know how to proceed? Any tips for them? Final tips for them?
Yeah, so just be sure that it's a risky thing. It's not like you see a unicorn and you think that you'll also be millionaire or billionaire. So be aware of that, but उससे डरना नहीं है, obviously. If you have a really good idea, I've already told, you can do all those process to just check whether that idea is can be helpful for whatever target market you have. And I think that's when you need to decide, as I said, you need to think 5 years ahead, that do you want to see yourself doing what you're currently doing, or do you want to have your own startup, creating something which impacts, people are using your product. Basically, it's a really different and joyful feeling. It's a really different feeling. So do you want to go into that journey or not? So I think, yeah, see a bigger picture. And I think that's when, if you have the belief in your idea, then you won't even get tired, you won't even think about that, it's working or not. Obviously you will keep working on it, making it much better. So, but I believe that that everyone, obviously it's not practical, but everyone should at least try coming into this entrepreneurship world, creating something new. Because I think it opens up your mind, it provides a very different perspective towards thing. And yeah, so I think just see 5 years down the line, where do you want yourself to see, and that's where you can decide.
Yeah, I think golden advice.
Yeah.
Anything to add, Mayank?
No, I really like talking to him. Wonderful talking to you, Rohil. Best of luck for SimpliClarify, and hope all your dreams come true with this platform. And
Yeah, hoping to
people
see
really
you.
also like this.
Hoping to see you
Yeah.
in the Shark Tank episode
Thanks a
next.
lot.
Let's see what Ashwin has to say
Yeah.
to you. Okay, cool. Thank you so much, Rohil.
Thanks a lot, guys.